Okay, so now that we have reviewed all of the materials that we have in the packet, the next thing that I normally do is look through the different pages or papers that I think that I might want to put either some paint or gesso or something over them, just so that I can tone them down or give them a little bit of weight, or prepare them for maybe drawing on them, or whatever it is that I'm going to do. I don't always have a plan all the way through. I kind of figure it out as I go along. So as I was looking through some of these papers, they're kind of bright, and I'm trying to make this journal a little bit more on the muted side. Still colorful, but maybe not as stark as these colors. So I think what I'll do is I will select a couple of pages that I want to put some paint on. This one for sure. And let's see. I think the ones that have these bright colors need a little toning down. And I think I'll put some on here because this is really smooth, and I want to create some kind of a background or a texture so that it isn't so smooth, so that if I want to do something else on it, it'll be easy enough to do. These I think I want to leave as is, and I might do something on that. Not quite sure yet. This for now I think I'll leave the way it is. For sure I'm going to either put paper or paint the back of this. I'm not quite sure which yet. And then these for sure I want to put a coat of either paint or gesso over these. And let's see, what else do I have here? Well, that'll take plenty of time right there, because that's a lot of stuff. So what I do, let's see, for instance, like with these papers, I know some people will put a brush and brush on the paint, but the way I like to do it, because I just want a thin coat, even if I put several coats, it doesn't matter to me. I like to, what do I do with it? This. I think this all came in your kit, or else if you just have a credit card you want to use, it is old, but that's what I like to use. So I have some of this white that's left, and I have some of this buttermilk color and called whitewash. So they're both Americana. I like using Americana because these are flat, unless it says shine or gloss, or I forget the other. There's like 3 different kinds. But the ones that don't say anything, those are the flat ones. And those are the ones I personally like to use because they're easier to put something else on top of them. Because the more shine there is to a paint, the more slick it's going to be. And the whole purpose of putting this is to make it be more matte. So, at least on like these shiny ones. This is to give it some texture and a little more thickness. Is the reason why I personally put the paint on here. And I basically just smooth it across in no particular direction or rhyme or reason. But because you do it with this, it puts a thin coat and it dries very, very quickly. Usually by the time you finish your batch, the first ones you started off with are already dry enough for you to put a second coat if that's what you want to do. Now you can do this with any color. I've done several journals where I put on some pretty bright colors. On these pages I might put some just for some effect, some different colors on here. But I'm going to try and keep it maybe in more like floral, because I think that's the direction I'm going to go with this. More like an earthy, outdoor kind of theme, I'm thinking. But again, when you're doing these, sometimes something else just kind of hits you and you start going in a different direction. Now see, this side's practically almost dry, but oh, there's a tear, and that doesn't matter. I can glue a little piece of paper on there later, or put washi tape, or when I glue something down, if I collage something, it'll cover it up anyway. So those little things, you just go with the flow. That's the beauty of these kinds of journals. There's no exact way to do it. There's no right or wrong. And there's no such word as perfection. That's why they're so fun, I think. Okay, so you go ahead and look through your papers and see which ones you think you might want to tone down. And you go ahead and get yourself your paint and go ahead and put a light coat, just like this, very simple, on the rest of your pages. And then I'm going to do the rest of mine off camera and have those all prepared. I might bring in a few colors, I'm not too sure, but you choose whatever you want, whatever theme you think you might want to be making your journal. Alright, so get busy and I will be right back. Alrighty, now it's time to pull out all of your papers that are white and decide if you want to stain them or not. Some people like to stain them, others just like them left as is, and then again others like a combination. I usually myself like a combination of some of them dyed and some of them just left the way they are. So the next question that a lot of people have is, well, how do I copy stain my papers? I know I've seen a lot of people, they have this, some of them have very elaborate ways of doing it. You know, they have a pan, they put it in the pan, they take it out, they put it in another pan, they put it in the oven. You know, it goes on and on and on. And it must take days to, to do all of their papers. I don't know how they do it. But what I mean is how they have the patience to do it, because I don't have the patience for all that. There are a lot of videos out there on how to do it, and probably most of you already have your own technique. But I will share with you what I do because it's extremely simplistic. I personally use just this Tostitos cheese jar, and I fill it up maybe around 3/4, and I heat it up in the microwave, just the water. Then I put about 5 heaping teaspoons of the instant coffee in here. And usually it will be about the color that I like. And then what I do, I get a brush. And with all the papers sitting on top of each other, I lay them out so whatever falls over falls on something else. And then I proceed to brush it on. That's what I do. I don't care how it looks, how it falls, because I like the messed up, accidental kind of look. I don't like the flat, pristine look. That just isn't me. I like the sloppy, junky look. So that's what I do. And if it's a pretty day outside, I'll do 2 or 3 of these and throw them outside and come back and do some more. And if it's a hot day, by the time I've done 4 or 5, the other ones are already dry. And I have a section that I just lay them out in the grass, and they dry in a few minutes. And then if you're the type that likes it super flat and you're one of those that likes to iron them, then you can go ahead and iron them. I do not. I like the crinkly look. I like the texture that it gives when they are not ironed. But that's each individual's preference, what they want to do. And this to me just goes so much more quicker than dunking them and taking them out and ripping them. I take them out, put them in the oven on, having to put them onto the, oh my goodness. I admire the ones that can do that, but I just don't have the patience for all that. And so this is what I'll do. Whatever I pulled out and decided that I wanted to not have it stark white, this is what I'll do. And for those of you that like your papers white, well, this is one step that you can just watch us go crazy and leave yours the way they are. Oh dear. But the weather has been so crazy here. I'm filming this in the 1st of August, and usually where I live, it is starting to be the hottest part of the year. We get all the mugginess, and it's just nasty. And it's usually in the mid-90s with pretty high humidity. Well, today, as I said, is August 1st. It was 79 degrees today. Yes, 79. And it sprinkled half of the day. And the forecast is for the rest of this week to be in the low 80s, like 81, 82. And in the evenings, it's supposed to go down into the 60s. It's like, okay, where am I? But I can handle it. Uh-oh, see, now I just tore that. But does that matter? No. See, when you make junk journals, things like that, it's called character. Just remember, when something goes wrong, you go, oh, now my book has character. Now, if you have any of this left over, put it in the refrigerator. I don't know why, but it will mold. I'm not sure what's exactly in here, but if you don't use it all, put it in the refrigerator. It'll last up to a week or more in the refrigerator. But if you put it, leave it out, which I did one day, and things started growing in there, and I only left it there for like less than a day. So beware. Now this that I got, it's very inexpensive. I got it at the Dollar Tree. So obviously it was just $1. Now do I dare open that? No, because it's soaked through. If I open that up, it's probably going to tear. So we're not going to do that. Now, if I were not filming, I'd do 2 or 3 of these and go throw them outside, and then 2 or 3 more and throw them outside. But for sake of this, I'm just going to do them all at one time right now. And then when I'm finished, that's when I can, let's see, what did I miss, if anything? Then I can go and put them outside. Okay, I got. And then depending if this isn't dark enough for you, then you can always, put more of the instant coffee and get the depth that you want. I kind of like it a medium. I like to have it look aged, but not ancient. Okay, and I think I'm going to do these two. I'm here, let's just do it. And even after, I wouldn't encourage you to do this, but sometimes I've left something white and I get the book all put together, the journal, and then it just bugs me because it didn't fit. So I just put some wax paper underneath here, like say if this was already in the journal, I would just put a piece of wax paper here and put a light coat on there and go ahead and do it. I have no qualms about doing that after. That would not be a choice because it is a pain, but it is an option if something really bugs you. Okay, now this came from a composition book, and some of the composition books, these lines bleed and some of them don't. It's very curious. If you look, I don't have it, where is it? If you look on the covers, I did have them here. What did I do with them? The cover to these composition books, there's an area there where it says where they're made. Well, the ones that are made in the USA, they bleed. I mean, they just bleed completely. And the ones that are made out of the country, made in Mexico, and made, I think the other one is China, they don't bleed. So this must be either a Mexico or a China one, because the lines, you can see them. The other ones, by now, the lines would be so blurred that you wouldn't even be able to see that there was any lines, unless it does it later. But anyway, if you just want to have them coffee stained and you still want to see the lines and be able to write on it, make sure that it is not made in the U.S. because the U.S. ones will bleed. Now see, this is starting to bleed, so I bet you this was a U.S. one. See how right here it's starting? The whole thing's going to do that, and there won't be any lines. The other ones that are made outside of the U.S., see how the lines are there. They're not going to be blurred. Same thing with the composition. So just a heads up, depending which way you like it. Blurry, made in the USA. Not blurry, import. Okay, so I think those are all the ones that I personally want to coffee stain. So I am going to go put these outside and let them dry. If you don't have the weather for them to dry or the area to put them, you can put them in the oven. People put them in on cookie sheets for, I think it's about maybe 5 minutes or so at about 225, but you need to keep an eye on them because they will get toasty pretty quick, and then take them out and until you are done with them all. But personally for me, I like the crunchy sound and the warpiness of them drying outside. Okay, so I'm going to go do that right now, and then I'll be back for the next stage.